World War II is widely considered as one of the defining events of the 20th century, with global consequences that would shape the course of world history for decades to come. The war saw the participation of the major powers of the world and was fought across several continents, from the beaches of Normandy to the deserts of Africa, and from the skies above Europe to the depths of the Pacific. However, in the winter of 1944, the war took a very dramatic turn with the launch of Hitler's last major offensive on the Western Front. Of course, guys, today we are talking about the Battle of the Bulge. But before we get into it, guys, please make sure you hit that subscribe button, as we are really trying to grow the channel. All your support is greatly appreciated. The Battle of the Bulge was a significant event in World War II, marking the last major German offensive in the West, and one of the largest and bloodiest battles fought by the US Army during the war. The battle was fought between December the 16th, 1944 and January the 25th, 1945, and took place in the Ardennes region of eastern Belgium, near the borders of Germany and Luxembourg. The battle was launched by the German army in an attempt to split the Allies' lines and capture the important port city of Antwerp, therefore disrupting the Allies' supply chain and forcing them to negotiate a peace settlement. By this point in the war, the Allied forces had been pushing back against the Germans and had secured several key victories in Europe, including the liberation of Paris and the recapture of Antwerp. However, the Germans still controlled much of the territory in Western Europe, and they were looking for a way to turn the tide of the war in their favour. The situation in Europe before the Battle of the Bulge was one of great uncertainty for both sides. The Allies were making progress, but the Germans were pushing back. The war was far from over, and the German army was still a formidable fighting force. On the other hand, the Germans were facing a very difficult situation, with their resources and manpower dwindling, and their defeat in the east seemingly inevitable. It was against this backdrop that the Battle of the Bulge was fought. The Battle of the Bulge was initiated by the Germans as a last-ditch effort to change the course of the war. The German High Command, led by Adolf Hitler, saw this offensive as a chance to divide the Allied forces and to recapture Antwerp, which was an important port for the Allies. The plan for the offensive was to launch a surprise attack on the Allies through the densely forested Ardennes region in Belgium and Luxembourg. The Germans hoped that by catching the Allies off guard, they could create a large bulge in the front line and divide the Allied forces, giving them the advantage they needed to turn the tides of the war. The objectives of the German offensive were twofold. Firstly, the Germans wanted to create a large bulge in the front line, which would give them control of the high ground and allow them to launch a series of counterattacks against the Allies. Secondly, they hoped to cut off the supply lines to Antwerp, which was an important port for the Allies, and to recapture the city. By doing this, the Germans hoped to severely disrupt the Allied war effort and to give themselves the breathing room they needed to regroup and rearm. The German forces, made up of some 250,000 soldiers, was composed of a mix of experienced units and inexperienced conscripts, with the main goal of reaching the key port of Antwerp in Belgium. The offensive was a significant gamble for Hitler, as it relied on favourable weather conditions as well as the element of surprise to be successful. The initial response of the Allies was slow and chaotic. The surprise attack caught the Allies off guard, and the thin American lines in the Ardennes were quickly breached. The first few days of the battle saw the Germans advance deep into Allied territory, causing panic and confusion. The American forces were initially pushed back and suffered heavy losses, with many more soldiers being taken prisoner. The situation was dire, and the Allies soon realised they had to act fast to prevent the German offensive from succeeding. The Allies quickly regrouped and reinforced their lines, bringing in reinforcements and supplies to turn the tide of the battle. The British and Canadian forces in the north moved to block the German advance, while the American forces in the south mounted a counterattack. The offensive was eventually met with fierce resistance from the Allies, who were determined to halt the German advance. Over the course of the battle, several key moments and events shaped the outcome and helped turn the tide against the Germans. One of the first turning points came on December the 22nd, when the Germans captured the town of Baston, which was a crucial crossroads in the Ardennes forest. The Allies had not been prepared for the sudden German advance, and many of their troops were caught off guard. However, a small contingent of American soldiers managed to hold the town despite being surrounded by German forces. This was a key moment as it prevented the Germans from taking control of the crossroads and disrupting the supply lines of the Allies. Another turning point came on December the 23rd, a day later, when the skies cleared and the Allied aircraft were able to provide air support to the ground troops. The air support allowed the Allies to mount a counterattack and push the Germans back. The air support also provided crucial reconnaissance information, which helped the Allies to better understand the enemy's movements and to coordinate their counterattack. The use of new technologies also played a crucial role in the outcome of the Battle of the Bulge. One of the most important new technologies was the M10 tank destroyer, which was designed to engage enemy tanks. The M10 was a fast, manoeuvrable vehicle that could easily keep up with tanks, and it was armed with a powerful anti-tank gun. This allowed the Allies to effectively engage the German armour, which was a key component of their offensive. Another new technology that played a key role in the Battle of the Bulge was the use of radar. The Allies had developed new radar systems that could detect enemy aircraft, and this allowed them to respond quickly and effectively to any aerial attacks. The radar systems were especially important in the early stages of the battle, as they allowed the Allies to quickly respond to the German advance. Finally, the use of tactics also played a crucial role in the outcome of the Battle of the Bulge. The Allies were able to effectively coordinate their counterattack, which allowed them to push back the German advance. They were also able to use their superior firepower and mobility to engage the enemy and to prevent them from regaining momentum. Despite the initial gains, the offensive ultimately failed, and Hitler's gamble backfired as the Allies pushed back the German advance and reclaimed the territory lost in the initial stages of the battle. The outcome of the Battle of the Bulge had far-reaching consequences for both sides. For the Allies, it marked a crucial moment in the war, as they were able to regroup and gain the momentum needed to push forward towards victory. However, on the German side, the offensive represented a failed final desperate attempt to change the course of the war, and the failure marked the beginning of the end for Hitler's regime. The Battle of the Bulge remains one of the largest and most significant battles of the Second World War, and its legacy continues to shape our understanding of the war and its impact on the world today. In terms of its significance in military history, the Battle of the Bulge represented a major test of the Allied forces' strength and resilience, as they were forced to withstand a major assault from the German army. It also showcased the importance of new technologies and tactics, as the Allies were able to leverage their superior intelligence and air support to turn the tide of the battle in their favour. Today, the Battle of the Bulge continues to be remembered and studied as a key moment in the history of World War II. It serves as a testament to the sacrifices and bravery of those who fought in the battle, and as a reminder of the devastating impact of war on individuals and nations. Thank you guys for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. All of your support is greatly appreciated. Have a great day, guys.